I guess we're live now. We don't have a music intro by Scott right now, but here we are.
Well,
Welcome
change
to
of
the
pace.
Porch Edition.
Yeah,
Change of pace.
new location. We're
doing it
in the
at,
Virgin Islands
yes,
today.
Got my vacation shirt on.
We're
Yeah.
in
Beautiful.
Ragai
St.
has
John,
Ragai has
St.
a
John
nice
Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Ragai has a nice property in the Virgin Islands that we're at right now.
I go there sometimes, you know. I get
Beautiful.
Is it the Virgin Islands or the island for virgins?
huh. Now it's neither.
Well, okay. I am Jasonda, and thank you so much for having us here, Ragai, and the lovely
to host.
Princess D.
Hi.
Yep.
So we are going to be talking about Ticketmaster
Ticketmaster. Those
slash
sons of bitches.
/ Live Nation.
I have to charge you a service fee for talking about that.
And a fee, and a fee for charging a fee.
Fee
and
for the fee and the fee
Then
and the
the fee to download and then the printing.
Man.
So, figure we'll start off, got a little trivia, and
Yeah.
then we're going to get into some Live Nation / Ticketmaster facts afterwards, because there's a lot of shit that I didn't even know.
Get everyone accustomed to the monstrosity of
How fucking,
Ticketmaster via trivia.
so how god-awful. It's not even just, it's just Live Nation in general, because now Live Nation owns Ticketmaster.
Really?
Ticketmaster used to be okay, actually, until
They're
they bought
the
them. I
Disney.
remember
Yep.
when they changed.
Yep.
I was like, what is, like, all these fees popped up. I was like, this is why I bought from y'all.
Well, and we're going to get into some of that with the trivia. So, let's start off. What year was Ticketmaster founded in? And I got multiple choice.
Perfect.
I got 1976, 1986, 1996, or 2006.
76.
96.
Final answers?
I'm sure it was C, but
No, Ragai is correct.
Hey!
Wait, really?
Ragai is correct. 1976.
wow.
And the next question, where was it founded in 1976? Was it San Jose, California, Phoenix, Arizona, Santa Fe, New Mexico, or Mexicali, Baja, California?
Oh, definitely. Did you say L.A.? The state of L.A.?
I never said it was a state.
San Jose.
You guys tried to fool me with that, but I was like, no,
Nick
LA's
tried
not, LA's not a
Nick
LA's
was
not a
trying to
state.
fool you with that one, and he is so sure that he almost got there.
Absolutely not. So, again,
Almost there.
San Jose, California, Phoenix, Arizona, Santa Fe, New Mexico, or Mexicali, Baja, California.
Phoenix, I think.
One of the Californias. San Jose.
Final answers.
Yep, San.
Princess D with the
Diana.
win. Now we got
Phoenix,
1 and 1.
okay.
Nice. Way to go.
And it's so funny because, like, you think about it, like, you don't realize how long Ticketmaster's been a thing.
Oh,
You don't realize how long Ticketmaster's been a thing.
Gucci Prada.
There we go. Applause. No, it helps if you read the written button there.
Well, so some of these trivia questions are pretty difficult because a lot of it I didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into the facts afterwards, a lot of interesting stuff. But question number 3, the Live Nation merger in 2009. 1 year later, settled class action lawsuit for misleading customers for what? And this is when Ticketmaster and Live Nation bought them.
What year was it?
2009. This is a year after Live Nation bought Ticketmaster.
Oh, right.
And
when it was starting to suck really bad.
But
Yeah.
a year after they bought them, they settled the class action lawsuit against Ticketmaster for misleading customers for what? Venue earnings and availability and delivery fees, delivery and processing fees, or processing fees and false advertisement of artists.
Processing fees and advertisement.
The last one, I think.
Same one I picked.
Yeah,
but
processing fees and advertisement.
I will take a different one. I'll take the processing fees and availability.
Well, you guys are close, but it's delivery and processing fees.
Really?
so
That
fees
would have
on
been my
both ends.
second guess.
That's
How
where
on point.
we tried to make that one difficult, because a lot of it's kind of a gray area, but just
Yeah.
the amount of fees that they put on there, which is why Donald Trump signed a thing recently to expose they have to put up what fees they're charging.
Yeah.
I noticed that about hotels and Airbnb and then booking
Yes.
flights.
Oh yeah.
That's new because
Fee on top of fee on top of fee.
I was looking at Airbnb for something and it used to be base price per night after taxes and fees, but not specify what those were. And then I'm like, all right, this is great. Why am I paying an extra $20 on my trip though? Well, then now they have to break it down. So it's okay, cleaning fee, admin fee, seller posting fee. It's oh, okay.
So
No, that's fucking crazy bullshit.
this is where we couldn't find the second part, but in 1994 and another year somewhere in the 90s, or no, I'm sorry, another year somewhere in the 90s, these two bands filed separate complaints against Ticketmaster.
Is one of them Metallica?
Well, now you have to choose two bands, and each band is one individual answer.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Guns N' Roses, ACDC,
ACD for short.
Metallica, Bruce Springsteen, and Pearl Jam.
I know what these are.
Metallica and Nirvana. Wait, what year is this?
94.
One of them was 94. The other one was in a different year that it didn't specify.
Nirvana and Metallica.
Princess D?
Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters.
She knows, probably. Probably studied this.
Final answers? You're half right.
I know one
You're
of them.
You're not at all. I love you. I'm sorry. It was Bruce Springsteen and Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam was the one in 94 who did it.
I knew Pearl Jam for sure because there was I read something about them, and I remember Eddie Vedder was ripping them a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He seems cool. I'd like to be friends with him.
What I read, Pearl Jam did it. Pearl Jam did it because of the fees.
Yeah.
And Bruce Springsteen because when Ticketmaster sold out, they redirected customers to some other site like Ticket Now or something.
Oh.
So basically, they wouldn't be making any money off that kind of thing.
Nice.
And then now we're down to our last trivia question. This one was hard. 2019, Ticketmaster, Live Nation Ticketmaster was fined $3.44 million because they topped their advertising costs by more than XX percentage and as much as XX percentage or XYY percentage. So it's was more than this and up to as much as this. So was it 20 to 50%, 20 to 65%, 25 to 50%, or 25 to 75%? How much? And as we're talking about how much their advertised cost that they added fees on top of it, the percentage of fees added on top of the original cost.
25, 75.
I would say 25 to 50.
20 to 65%.
Still outrageous.
Absolutely fucking
just
stupid.
Insane.
Absolutely stupid.
Do you know if there's any antitrust lawsuits or any antitrust allegations against Live Nation and Ticketmaster?
That's a pretty good question.
Well, I know that there was a point where they had a rewards program that was $9 a month. They said the average person waited 1.12 months or something like that to finally cancel their subscription, and Live Nation made $85 million off of those fees. And then a class action lawsuit came out, and everyone was able to receive up to $30. Right? Absolutely fucking stupid.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically, they're the Disney of tickets and music.
They absolutely. Well, the thing is, what fucks me up is they have nothing to do with the bands or the venues or anything. They just supply the fucking tickets.
So I'm really eager to hear a little bit of Scotty's side to this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I really want to hear what this is all about because, see, to me, my thing would be, well, I'll open my own ticket thing and I'll only charge people to watch a bunch of advertisements. You want to get your ticket, buy it, and then watch a shitload of ads, and then you get your ticket sent to you once you finished all of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Kid Rock for the longest time kept all the prices of everything in his show down.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember what show what news show he was on, and they were like, "You're going to lose like $100,000 a show," and he goes, "Dude, I have money. I want people to come to the shows and have fun, and I respect that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no matter what you say about Kid Rock, I absolutely respect that.
No, I respect someone who's there for the music and the enjoyment and the reason that they're out there doing this.
Yeah, exactly. He's still making money, you know. So
that's why I'm wondering about antitrust, because what other ticket sales companies do you know of?
Yeah, there's none.
There's none. So then how I'm curious that this hasn't been like reported on yet. Which I'm sure there is lawsuit. Yeah, I was going to say I'm sure there's stuff in the works.
Because there was people that were filing lawsuits because basically Ticketmaster or Live Nation, there's no competition.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they have and that's why people were all this shit with all the fees had to be transparent, because people were bitching and moaning about this whole thing. And they could do whatever they want. They could jack the price up as much as they want.
Yeah.
And what I'm curious is how much do the artists actually get for that?
That's a really good question.
Hey, Scotty?
Yeah, so I'm thinking what is the situation with how many people know about it? Because definitely it's a big topic, but it's just niche enough that you can kind of slide by. It's not like an oil company where everyone's buying gas,
Yeah.
Those are kind of the big ones. Like Microsoft got hit because of computers and, everything's on computers, but at the same time, though music is it's universal everywhere, when it comes to going to concerts, that's kind of a little bit more niche now.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks because I love going to concerts, but now if I go to a concert, it's once every few years because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always find a way to get up front somehow, but it's getting increasingly harder to get up front now.
Yeah.
It's usually hopefully, okay, thank God I know this person or I know that person, or something happens where I could make my way up there. But
yeah.
Being friends with Guns N' Roses really helps now, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the one event
Fuck
that I
Axl.
got tickets for.
This guy knows Slash.
Okay.
That guy I wouldn't doubt if he knew Slash.
Yeah, the one event that I've recently had to buy tickets for, I did everything in my power to not go through Ticketmaster or Live Nation to do so.
I've searched every possible area of the internet that I could find to find tickets elsewhere, and actually another thing, Live Nation was partnered up with a ticket scalping company at one point.
Really?
Wow.
Which they're still doing basically because I bought tickets to Social Distortion last year, but I didn't do it until the very end because it sold out right away. Yeah. And then you go on there, and general admission ticket prices should have been $50. I think it was $59 or something.
And you can buy it from a bunch of bots that have already.
Well, it was, and then you
right.
whatever, you would pay maybe $70 for the ticket afterwards. And it's general admission. You could go up to the front, wherever. People bought them out. People were putting them on there under resale, $150, $200, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Until it came up closer to the show, and it was maybe a week or two before.
Yeah.
No scalpers weren't getting rid of those tickets because no one's going to pay that.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, they brought it back down to the normal price. I bought my ticket.
Smart. There you go.
And that, see, it's all these notes here. It's like when me and Nick talk about not supply and demand, but supply and desire. You don't need to go to a concert, but people love to go to concerts.
And when they want to, they really, really want
Exactly.
to. The people that really need it, like I said, it's kind of niche. They're always there for the live music. They need to feel it.
Yeah.
And they know, hey, we got these fuckers. They're not going to find it any other way.
Yeah.
And,
so, sucks for you.
This is the funny part, like, because you hear about some of those artists, and this is always wonder, like, how this works. Like, some of the artists that are real, like, prima donnas. Like, I need a thing of M&Ms, a thing of carrots. I need this kind of drink.
Do you know why they do that, though?
Why?
Yeah.
So, some of it, my mom used to work for Universal, and fun fact, Guns N' Roses had in their contract, so it's a rider. They do it to make sure people are reading their contracts and having everything going.
Exactly, yeah.
Guns N' Roses and their rider requests only green M&Ms in their dressing rooms.
That's why I said M&Ms, because I did hear that.
And they were so nice. They came down to their office and were like, "Hi, do you guys want some of our M&Ms?"
So, yeah, that's what I heard, because they would find out that they would go to a show and these people would be completely unprepared. Like, they said they have a very specific setup they wanted. Yep. And they wanted, like, high quality, experience for the fans. But a way to tell when they got there whether or not they actually read the contract and went through all those meticulous things is if they had the green M&Ms. So it was a tell for them, like, we don't have the green M&Ms, we're going to fucking walk because you just fucked the show up. You probably didn't do anything we wrote about.
It's a breach of contract.
Mm-hmm.
I learned something in that class this year.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. McCrevis wants to see is that how you spell Swayze?
Oh, should I go get Swayze?
Let's get Swayze out.
Ask him his opinion. Okay, I should put up my...
All right, here. You want to jump in, Nick?
Yeah, come on in.
You might want to switch seats.
Oops, you okay?
Yeah, because your seat's not even in frame.
The Ring of Fire.
Yeah, but there are some bands though, like I think it was like Avenged Sevenfold or something. Like before a lot of them get sober, they're like, I want like 4 bottles of Jack Daniels in the dressing room. They want all this booze. They want to be able to party, before shit happens. But yeah, the M&M's thing I have heard.
Yeah,
I have heard. Some of them like the weirdest shit.
I have to ask her who else had a really interesting rider. But she just remembers them. She met George Michael, but she didn't do anything with his rider.
George Michael, is that the guy from Arrested Development?
No, George Michael from Wham. Nice, very nice hair. Oh, there's Swayze. Hi, Bean. What do you think about?
Swayze doesn't like Live Nation either. Look at him. He's like, I hate Live Nation. Leave me alone.
Say hi?
It's not very vocal. Maybe he's cool with Live Nation.
He don't look at. Oh, he looked at you when you said that. Like, how dare you?
How dare you with the Live Nation?
This is my 10-month-old kitten. This is Swayze.
Oh, thank you.
Swayze was adopted from the Cleveland APL. Shameless plug. They're having a cat palooza for the month of June. So if you're looking for a cat,
hey, perfect month for it.
Yeah.
Well, if he's not going to make a sound, I'll make a sound. Ready?
Yeah.
Wow, that was loud. All right. Got the special edition gold cans. Not too shabby.
So what do you think about Live Nation?
Well, I don't really go to big concerts. I most likely go to like hyper local, like pay $5 to get in, or just go for free, or go to Men of Rocks and see what kind of action they got going on over there.
I mean, like it's like again, Social Distortion, House of Blues. Like it's $50-something. You pay the fees, maybe $70 after, but like that's doable. But when you got bands and you're paying $120, $135 for nosebleed seats, well, that should never fucking happen. I remember being in high school and Madonna tickets, I think, were $300. And actually, I saw a fucking video. Kurt Cobain talked about the same thing.
Yeah.
He talked about the same thing back in the day. And he's like, your tickets are how much? And he goes like, we charge, was it $15 or something like that, like for our shows. It's like, it's fucking, inflation and all that stuff. But this is like hyperinflation.
It's been a couple of years.
This is like hyperinflation.
Let's see what inflation would, or what $15 a ticket would be in today's money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm sure it's up there.
To me, it's overly done. Overly done.
See, back in the day when I was going to concerts, which was probably almost 20 years ago, I think $20 was pretty much my maximum. It was $20. I'm like, okay. But anything above 20, I was like, that's getting exorbitant. And nowadays, I probably wouldn't even pay 20. I'm like, a $5 concert kind of guy.
Okay, so it's like a $36 ticket, which, it's not
more than double.
Yeah, it's more than double. I mean, which I say, oh, that's not bad because I'm used to paying so much money for tickets, but
that's what I'm saying.
But there was a time when that was a lot of money.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying though. That equivalent's up to a $30-something a ticket.
Yeah.
You can't buy a ticket for $30-something
anymore.
No, it's gone way faster than the price of inflation.
Yeah, it's fucking greed. It is absolute greed.
Oh, 100%.
Because they know people are going to pay it, but it also turns a lot of people off. It turns a lot of people off. Like, I don't go to concerts that much. I only go if I absolutely want to see the band.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like Incarceration, it's like a whole weekend.
Oh, like the music festival type of thing.
Yeah, but like like you get like hotel and stuff in there, but just even like the fees just to get into the show for the weekend, take away everything else, it's stupid expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's stupid expensive.
I've only gone to a music festival one time, and it's because Barry McCracken actually won tickets on the radio.
Which one was
kidding.
It? It was Bunbury in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was cool. It's like a 2 or 3 day event. So we got to go on the radio's dime and got to. I mean, what really sticks out to me is I was able to see Tom Petty.
Wow.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like cool. Right before he passed, like the year before he passed.
Beautiful.
And he was playing with, like, everybody knows Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but he was actually playing with his other band, Mudcrutch.
Oh, I know them.
See, that'd be super cool. Did you camp out?
No, we stayed in a hotel.
Okay, that's fucking cool because I've never been to a music festival.
Yeah,
that's on my bucket list.
Me too. But it's like that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
My plan is the summer that I graduate law school, I want to take like a month off of work if I have like the PTO for it, and I want to there's like a couple trips I want to take, and then I want to find a music fest.
So back in the day, I think it was 2004-ish, like right when Slipknot came out with Subliminal Verses.
So 21 years ago.
Yeah.
People who were born in 2004 or 21, they can drink.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that makes me want to drink.
Yeah,
I know. My cat who was born in 2005 would have been 20 this year, which is like.
Whoa.
My dad comes up to me. We're out to eat at TGI Fridays, and he goes, "Hey," because he knew people from the beverage store, the liquor store.
Yeah.
When he worked there, and he goes, "Hey, I scored these Ozfest concert tickets. You want them?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "So, and I just got my license. I'm 16. How am I getting there?" He goes, "You can take the van." I'm like, "I'm in. I'm in."
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
16 years old with my girlfriend at the time, just fucking jamming out all the side stages. I saw Slipknot for the first time. I saw like OTEP, then all these other bands. Then Ozzy comes on the main stage. I was like, oh my god, dude, this is awesome.
Yes, I think you do get more bang for your buck when you're going to a music festival. Just to kind of get back into the financial aspect of it.
True.
Because when you're going to see like an individual band, like if it's really well known, you might be paying like hundreds of dollars. But you might pay about the same for a music festival and be able to see, 10, 12, 15 bands, maybe see a couple that you like, some you don't know.
Discover some people.
But I think we need to get Scotty Too Hottie on the program.
I think we do. I need to hear.
Because we've been hearing some of the negative aspects.
I need to hear Scotty's.
I'm with you, though, that local bands are great because there's so much untapped talent that people don't even know. And there's a lot of great local bands.
Yeah.
A lot of great local bands. So it is cool. you maybe pay a cover charge like $5-10 or whatever to get in, and it's a lot of fun. And then sometimes you don't know, they make it big one day, and you're like, oh, that's awesome.
I saw them back when.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we got.
I saw Anthrax back when they were small in '86.
Right. I used to babysit for
him. You probably did.
I did Scotty Young's mom. What's happening, fellas?
So,
hey.
So, Scotty, what do you think about because we talked about not just inflation of concert tickets, but the hyperinflation of concert tickets has gone way past the prices of almost anything else nowadays. How do you feel about Live Nation and the prices and the fact that they have no competition?
Well, yeah, the no competition thing kind of a little bit bothersome because, you often force into doing it. But, from the artist's perspective or the artist and musician side of things, it takes a lot off of their plate because they don't have to worry about certain itineraries. That's all handled by, the Live Nation, and the insurances is covered by there. So, basically, they have, certain equipment standards based on the venues that they're at, and that's all handled by them. So the musician people, they don't really have to worry about much, except doing the draw and then the show up and throw up.
Yeah, but wasn't there, back in the day, wasn't there, what, was Ticket Hub or something like that? Or
yeah,
there was, other ones,
these
but,
were just resale markets through. It all came through whatever the main,
the scalper ones.
Because you were talking about the scalper ones and stuff like that. That still all goes through, no matter if they sell it or not, they're aware of the ticket transfer because it's all electronic. So, basically they eliminated the paper ticket for all intents and purposes. Paper ticket used to be big back in the day. They used to exchange that. Counterfeiting was huge. When people would...
So paper scratching ticket, off the dates or something.
Actually, for sure. It used to be a huge, and they used to put all the disclaimers back. I actually have a stack of a lot of them from back in there, and it was pretty.
There was actually
rough shot.
Another thing I was reading about when we were talking before the show. There was an issue where for some of the concerts that were going on, I don't remember if it was Ticketmaster or after Live Nation took over, that there was duplicate tickets being accidentally sold, and people were coming up to the shows with their paid ticket, and they were just they would confiscate and destroy them because they thought they were counterfeit tickets. And people were showing them no, I paid for this ticket,
right?
And it was because duplicate tickets were being sold accidentally. But still, that's a major fuck up.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So a lot goes into it, each venue. And that's why they do the generic surcharges, because everywhere you go and you play, everything's a little bit different to the setup. So, from the band side of things, you don't want to go in there, drag your dog and pony show all your equipment in there, and something's not compatible to the venue you're going. Hence, you blow up the venue's equipment, or they blow up yours.
Oh, you had Android, they had Apple.
That's right.
So I'm going to pay $100.
That's a great example. So everything's got to be compatible, pre-worked out, and then what they do is instead of every artist, every show, every venue, they just group it all into one. Hence, when you were talking about the festival things, everybody, you sign up for the fucking festival. This is how it works. You don't like it? Go play another festival.
Go play in the woods.
That's it.
So I have to pay $124 to sit in nosebleeds at one of my favorite bands. That's what? No.
That'll teach you to sneak down to the front.
I still did.
Damn straight. That's what it's all about.
I didn't even sneak. I had a connection, and it was fantastic.
Right. Or you just walk backstage. Some people have been known to do that.
That I won't do.
That's okay.
Well, I definitely want to get back to John's point, though, because you're saying that basically it's expensive, so they could standardize everything, make it as easy as possible for the artist, and provide the best possible quality entertainment every single time, no matter what.
You have to have that blanket charge in there for liabilities and stuff,
But John's
arena
point,
burns down. Who's going to pay for that?
How much of those fees and that we pay through Live Nation go to that? And how much of it goes to Live Nation?
It depends to the venue. That's why it's such a, like you said, was it 20 to 65%?
Yeah.
Each venue's different. Each contract is kind of different. It depends on the payout of the artist. So if you're opening act, what's their cost? So what happens with a lot of these bands is they come on they sign on, and often they're signed on to a record company, which is totally different from Ticketmaster or maybe affiliated to Live Nation or whatever it is. All that money's recoupable. So they have to take the fees out of that, pay the band gets the money to make the album. They get the money for the tour bus. They get the money for the equipment. They just don't give it to them. They have to pay that back. So they have to, so like a lot of that's going to accounting fees.
Okay, well, you're going through basically line item by line item, and I appreciate that because that's a lot of stuff we don't know. Is like just the concert goer. We just want to listen to the music. We don't want to be like setting up a stage. But you guys on that side, you worry about all that.
Right.
But I think to make it a lot more simple, what you could do is just look at the financials of Live Nation Ticketmaster. Are they making any money? Are they passing it all through to all these different things you're talking about?
Yeah,
well, Live Nation Ticketmaster is making a lot of money.
That's what it's all about, and hence the better demand the band is, you can demand more.
Well, it's just they're making a lot of profit. They're doing everything you're saying.
And some of it does at gate, so some of it does at ticket sales. So some of these, they're making a percentage of whatever the overall gross is on the total show. And each band is making that percentage. So some of the bands are like, I could charge them $500. We're making more. We don't give a fuck. And some of the bands, like you were mentioning Kid Rock before, I got the money. I don't give a fuck. I want to play. I want it to be a good experience for the fans. So a lot of that all boils down to, where does the artist stand with, in regards to their deal with their record company, their private entities or investors, as opposed to what, just give ticket money, their master. I'll play for practically nothing. I just want to perform.
Look how much Ticketmaster made. I saw it earlier. I meant to tell you I didn't save it. Look how much Ticketmaster, or I'm sorry, Live Nation made last year in 2024.
Well, it's a good,
ridiculous.
Stock it's a good stock investment, so
ridiculous.
Where you think some people have their money behind, because that's how it takes money to make money. Ultimately, it comes down to the performers in the show, and the venue's got to be able to handle it. And you have to be prepared for lawsuits. Tragic events, mistakes, fires, there's all kinds of things that may happen, and they try to group it all into what they call the surcharge.
There's just so much shady behind the scenes. Greedy
it
shit.
Is. It's merchandising. It is, and they're going to count the gate. I mean, greed is inevitable, I guess, in society. When eventually you probably all have to answer to that at some point.
Well, actually, these numbers are a little bit surprising because I was looking up the financials for Live Nation for Q1 2025, and their revenue was $3.4 billion.
Yep. But
their operating income was only $115 million.
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Fine.
What do you got? Where's that go? That much money's going to that? Going to all that shit you were talking about?
Yeah, what if the state of LA burns down? What are we going to do? That's why I said it's a good stock investment.
That's what I'm saying. It's so crooked. It is so crooked.
Yeah.
Well, but this operating income of $115 million is not that much when you compare.
Well, that's just operating.
The revenue.
That's just operating income. You still got to pay the swindlers to swindle. There's the swindling fee. They can't call it a swindling fee, so they doctor it up as a surcharge. And just for collective purposes, it just makes everything more gravy and easy. You can't sit there and say, all the surcharges are this. The green M&Ms are 13 cents a piece. Nobody wants to read that shit. Nobody's going to sign off on it.
No.
Nobody cares.
No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Live Nation making, after their overhead costs, making billions of dollars in a short amount of time.
Yep.
Oh, no, that was just revenue. Okay, so let's go with yearly then.
Well, they're not going to do it for free. They're not called the Red Cross Live Nation Salvation Army Society.
Okay, hold on.
They are providing stuff for, they're doing this. Somebody's got to get the ticket, scan it, computerize it. Somebody got to have the things to check it at the gate. You got to count it.
They pay that guy $12 an hour to
scan I got you. But there's a lot of guys. Somebody has to park the car. Somebody has to make sure the lights are working and the intersections are good. And
exactly.
There's a lot of shit that goes into it.
There you go, Scott.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's what I said.
Look back then to now.
See where it was at a lull when they weren't having any shows. See where it is now.
Yeah,
you have to recoup that loss right there. So that's why I said that's a good maybe investment.
No, they didn't recoup the loss. They really accelerated. So we're talking about let's go 2019.
But look at that lull. You add the little timetable in it. People are paying. So the product isn't demand. People want to get out.
There's no way to recoup the loss. So you can't just overcharge.
They didn't even wine and dine us. They didn't even wine and dine us before we got screwed.
That's it.
Yeah, so like in 2019, their revenue for the full year was about 11 billion in 2019, and the lowest point down during COVID, they made the revenue was down to looks like 1 billion, about 1 billion, super low.
Yeah.
But now their highest year so far was 2023.
So how do you fill that little dip in there? How do you fill it back up?
You don't.
With that big dip up top.
Dude,
that's why it's a good investment.
You know what they're doing? They literally just poured the Pacific Ocean into a bucket. It's what they just did.
Straight.
It's what they just did.
Yeah.
So 2024, 23 billion in a single year on revenue.
Yeah.
Which is, more than twice what it was pre-pandemic in 2019.
When it was almost nothing. So they're recouping losses.
You want to show this to the camera?
Hey, people are paying it. If nobody's paying it, here's what the bottom line is. If nobody's paying it, nobody's going to the shows, nobody gives a shit, they're going to lower the prices to get people in. But people are paying to go. They want to go. They want to see. So what are they going to do?
That's the problem.
Charge less?
That is the problem.
Right?
You know somebody that works all these venues. You don't pay for concert tickets.
I don't know nothing.
You don't pay for concert tickets. I can see that right now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ryan, do you have a comment on the graph?
Yeah. No, anything else? I got like a lot of knowledge on this. Anything anybody want to know? I mean, I'd be happy to like try to help answer it, like as far as how that works, like the ticketing.
Yeah, that's a really good.
So all that. So yeah, and then other things too go into it. So there's pay to play royalty rights. You have to pay ASCAP and BMI. For every show. That's part of the surcharges. There's the things that's going to be listed in the surcharges. They group it together in a category of bullshit. And they don't list it. Like they're not going to list. Okay, you got to pay for the straws for the Happy Meal and the bag that the French fries come in and shit. It's all listed as one price for the Happy Meal or whatever it is, the value meal.
The beer companies. I remember when $9 for a tall boy was insane. Now what is it, $14, $15?
A lot of the
tall boy. Come on, you're paying. The beer companies are making their money.
So let me tell you about that though. So a lot of what they call that is concessions and recreations. A lot of that comes in the parking that falls onto the venue, and sometimes the tour or somebody they may get a little cut off of that, based on what they're doing. So then the merchandising part of it is like, who's selling these T-shirts? Okay, you got to provide the stand for us to sell these T-shirts or whatnot, and then that's where say that may fall on the Live Nation and the band. So that's like a separate entity. A lot of the times the concessions, the beer, and all that fall onto the actual vendor or the venue itself, unless they're doing a promotion of a certain drink, or unless the band demands through their deal that they signed that they want cheaper beer or some garbage, which rarely ever happens.
So you think the amount of money that Live Nation makes is okay? The amount of money for concert tickets for nosebleeds is okay?
Yeah, I mean,
20 years ago,
it depends.
It's
the value. It comes down to the value if you want to see it. So, like for instance, when AC/DC was around a couple Wednesdays ago, I like them. They're a good band and everything. I just didn't have no desire to go down and go through the whole walk up through the stadium, the whole dog and pony show, to sit there and just see some ACD. They weren't top on my list. Had it been another band that I really completely and no doubt wanted to see, I would pay the top dollar, whatever it is, to go see them if I wanted to see it.
What's your favorite food that you shop for and you have in your fridge?
I don't know. Beer.
Okay.
Hey, that's my favorite vegetable too.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Cornflakes
in a
cigarettes
can.
and beer, a complete vegetable diet.
A case of Bud Light. Well, guess what? It's going to be $75 now for a case of Bud Light.
It depends on.
And there's no reason for it. Just that they're going to make money off.
Well, that's a whole other entity because of
people are going to pay it.
Okay,
people are going to pay it.
I get that.
So
these,
a bat of
small
beer,
people.
The bottom of the bat is actually Busch and Busch Light, of the big ass bat that are like huge. So the Busch Light's cheaper because the premium beer is at the top. That's why the top beer is more. Bud Light is more than Busch Light, but Busch Light is exactly in the same vat. Once it gets to a certain point in the vat, that turns into the Busch Light can.
You're never You're never gonna find a 6-pack cheaper than $45 for a 6-pack. Don't matter what it is. Busch, MGD, Bud Light, never gonna be cheaper than $45. And it just happens quickly.
All right, here's what I gotta say.
So I go out and I buy a beer truck. That comes.
Yeah. No, but so I get
selling it at the concert venues.
I get Scott's point here that the little guys got to get paid. Everyone that's standing there taking tickets, doing all the crazy shit. But what are the people at the top making?
That's what we're saying. The revenue being billions. Yeah.
Are they reinvesting in their company? Are they using it to pay out their shareholders? If so, because their general stock has no dividend.
Both. So what they're doing is they're taking some of their profit losses and they're like prepaving on insurance for future vendors down the road. So they're reinvesting. If I'm seeing
this correctly, they've never.
So I'm going to point something out to you. Yeah. So they're already, even though they're pulling off this summer's concert tour, they're already booking and filling up for the 2026 concert tour. In order to do that, how you take your money, you pre-negotiate your insurance rates on that. You let that money sit there, build interest, hence paying it down, hence raising your profits.
Okay.
Providing nothing burns, like the state of LA.
Profits, right?
So if you look at it that way,
net profit. Oh,
what's that?
I was asking about net profit. This is just the gross revenue income. So let's look at their net revenue.
Right.
150 million was their basically their overhead costs. Remember that episode of South Park with the cable companies and they just whip their nipples out like, sorry. Sorry. Right, like you're going to have to do this to cancel. There's no competitors. You're going to have to pay.
Remember that episode they were protesting, well, Metallica can't get their fourth summer house.
Here's a more realistic chart. Okay, so no, this chart is more realistic.
There you go. Let's hear it.
So they made no money until...
In 2020, they made no money.
No, up until 2022. Look at this.
Yes.
This is their net profits. It's
telling
all
you,
negative.
That's why the chart, they have to recoup the losses, and that's what I'm trying to explain. And how they do that, they bury in what they call the future. Right. So they're already investing into next season, next fall, next, winter. You know what I mean?
Hey, Nick, can you put this on the camera? This is
that changes.
Way different story.
That validates me.
No, it does not validate you. It does not validate you. The concert tickets suck.
You guys are so great.
You see it? The net profit scheme way down from what. They're making a shitload of money, but they're paying a shitload of people probably to negotiate with these artists to organize situations.
They're probably paying off a lot of because when I was reading.
Well, I had to sit at home, and I needed that second summer home too.
Yeah, that's it.
When I was reading on earlier, like the
amount
of lawsuits between bands and class action lawsuits.
For sure.
That's your fucking fault for being shady as fuck. And now you're being even more shady by raising the prices so much.
You didn't read the fine print.
We are all sitting here in St. John and the Virgin Islands talking about this.
Right.
I
needed yellow M&Ms, and they brought me green M&Ms. They didn't read the contract.
Well, what if the guy that picked them out was colorblind?
Well, they should have made a better hire. Now I'll double the lawsuit.
What? Post-pandemic.
Well, I would hope so.
Post-pandemic, they hired someone during the pandemic, apparently, that was able to really turn their scheme around, and now they are doing pretty well.
Pretty well?
No,
that's an understatement.
So it has been only positive. But look, it's all been negative up until. So from 2013 until here, it's been negative.
So I'll tell you what happened.
I can't see any farther.
So I'll tell you what happened. Everybody. The demand for shows is up. People want to go. People want to see this. And that's why it's out there.
Yeah. So I can see if their profits were doing some shit like they were back in 2009. That's why they're probably doing that shady shit with.
2009 is when they bought Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
And they again paying or finishing off the legal fees and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's where
make me want to drink, Scott.
Maybe they are paying that out, but I'm not. I'd like to see more historical data on this. I'm going to go into.
So what's a really good thing? It's going to be for another one. Look into actual losses and where because there's so many individual categories of where the dip in the profit was. Let's see where they excelled, and then you can pinpoint the thing to bitch about more realistically because people you have to have insurance. Anybody that goes there, you want to make sure if I'm setting up my equipment to do a show that my shit ain't going to blow up. I'm not going to blow their shit up. Everything's compatible and nothing's going to catch fire. And I want to make sure that I'm insured before I walk in and do a venue. Especially you say we're out in the Cayman Islands. Where are we at today? The Bahamas?
Virgin Islands, St. John.
So
yeah.
say,
remember the pilot told you.
So say if I was at St. Thomas or the Cayman Islands, I'm going to make sure my shit gets there. That's
Scotty's
a transportation cost.
Scotty's at a different location every day.
That.
He's got a
two,
personal
three places, right?
little personal jet, that he gets dropped off somewhere new every
UFO,
day.
we call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they just transport.
Scott's literally there in his beer truck selling the beers at the venue, looking over at the Live Nation guys going.
Scotty's pilot's the coolest guy I ever met. Little green dude, about this tall.
Money, right.
Nice guy.
He played.
That's my agent. You leave him alone.
He says the coolest stuff. He goes, "Can I get it?" This little alien guy.
Hey, so. He's also my accountant too, so you leave him alone.
I just hate it because there's so many bands that I want to see, and it's just I can't afford it.
So the costs obviously have gone up incredibly, but in the good old days when it cost a nickel to go see fucking Who, the Who also had people get trampled to death at their venues.
Right, and who pays for that?
Yeah, and they were aghast by that, and they said they would never do another show. What was it called? It was there's a name for it. It's like first come, first serve, and you sprint to go get in line, basically.
Sort of like that, open seating.
They got
format.
a cool word for it.
Yeah, it's like open seating or...
Me. I got to pee.
Asada, you pay for them tickets. You pay. Or you sneak in like the rest of them. You get your rebate on your surcharge.
I don't want to triple the card.
And I'll sign up too. It's another thing too for some of these shows. I'll talk to Jasanda about it. For actually some of these shows, you could sign up and you're your part worker. Or
Jasanda and I are going to wear a really big trench coat next time. And just be one big tall man getting 1 9-foot tall man.
Get you a couple styrofoam amps and a clipboard and just walk around and where do I put this?
Yeah.
How well does that work? Just putting on a pair of headset or an earbud, glasses, and walk around I got to do lighting and just walking right in.
I don't know.
The old handyman routine.
Yeah, you got to, usually up there sometimes, I can go back there, they'll invite you, they want to get your opinion on something and, it all depends on the show and the venue.
So you feel like everyone is fairly compensated across the board for their duties, and the duties are pretty valid.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Some of these roadies they can make 6 figures if they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
If they know what they're doing, because you're entrusting them. Think about that. Yeah, you're entrusting them with, multi-million dollars worth of major concert equipment, video production and stuff. You don't want some, even though they may look like, a carny or whatever you want to call them. These guys know what they're doing, and
they're picking out the good groupies
that's
in the crowd. They're doing.
They're getting the best of them.
Yeah, they test them out before they send them to the back room. The whole thing.
You got to have a certain look for some of these roadies. But yeah. A lot of them know what they're doing. They're very competent. They're very knowledgeable about electronic stage hookups. They have to. Like I said, it's so important. I just seen it so many times. If what you're hooking in, what you're using, you're hooking into their venue. It's got to be code. It's got to work. And if you don't want to burn the place down or cause a big spark, and the city's out of power, and then who pays for that? Well, the surcharge.
Hey, it's a big party happening, and who wants to be sitting there fixing stuff and playing with electronics while the party's going on?
Dang straight.
No one.
That's why they do the sound test. So they do a sound test. You know what I mean? And that's bringing the band out on stage with the sound people and stuff. Nobody's paying for that really.
Mm-hmm.
So that's almost the people have to be there.
You have definitely changed my outlook on this.
Well, good.
I feel way different about it.
Yeah, it's there for a little bit of a reason. I mean, if there was good that does actually physically come out of it. I know it just it's a monster and it's a bear and everybody looking at the big dollar price, but it's the supply and demand. If you want to see the band and they're good enough and they're good enough draw, they put out a good show for you.
I think you hurt Jasanda's feelings so bad he had to go in the bathroom.
Well, that's okay. We'll teach him how to sneak in a little better.
Yeah.
Save a few bucks.
Does he know where the bathroom is?
Yeah.
That's fine.
You got a question. What was your question?
There's a corner in there I like to pee in. He'll probably find it.
How much
are these, how much is Live Nation?
You find the bathroom?
How much is Live Nation or the venue?
How much is
How much is live nation for the venue making on one concert?
Well, it depends.
He always
Oh, yeah,
does
he
that.
does
So-
that.
He likes that.
So, like,
yeah.
he had an escort to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Swayze
even
was
sneak into the
watching,
bathroom.
just on to pee.
All right.
Hey, after I saw you
Beat
pee,
him.
we were best friends.
See, even the cat's charging him a surcharge.
Yeah.
So getting back to your question, Nick, that's a very good question. Like, what does everybody make per show or concert? Like, a lot of the variables depend on the actual arena itself, and then what the band has, and then the biggest thing about any what they're making in profit is the draw, the head count. How many people can you stuff into the damn things? How many T-shirts and beers can you sell?
But
So-
you want to inflate by the ticket sales.
For sure.
Stuff.
So what they call
but
that
that's
is-
also a technique where you can see underhanded techniques
So-
might seem underhanded, but are actually just trying to break even. Given the chart we just saw, where they are not breaking even,
Yeah, so
the
each-
vast majority of the time.
Each venue has what they call
Really?
it paper in the house. So
Seems like it, yeah.
So if it's a shitty sell, right, you don't want to do what they call paper in the house. Paper in the house means just anybody can
Yeah.
come right the fucking free, sit over there and let's fill this thing up and make it look like it's
Yeah.
something.
My
Because those aren't
stepbrother-
your really fans,
Yeah.
But people can walk around like, Yosanda, okay, this is not a big sale. Let's paper the house.
My stepbrother does this with Broadway musicals all the time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what they call. And then also that you have X amount of giveaways. So if I know I'm going anywhere part of the contract, I need 5 to 10 to 15, tickets to hand away for my sponsors and promotional events for each city or wherever the fuck I'm at. I want to slip my buddies in,
Yeah.
And so every band is allowed. So they know there's going to be X amount of freebies. They account for that before time. And like you say, it's great you know about paper in the house. Is like
Yep.
if you don't have a good seller, especially if you're doing something on a live TV feed or something, you don't want to sit there and, have dead seats in the house. And that's why they take people from the back and, oh, come on, you've been upgraded to the front. And,
Yeah.
so, that's a big part of it too. So that's why what Nick was asking is like, how much do they make per show? That's why one of the trivia questions was like, what was it, between 20 to 65%?
Yeah.
Because it varies. It varies on the venue. And a lot of people sign with these various things, and they want to get these guys, Live Nation, sign us up with them. They'll handle all this bullshit with the ticket sales and the counts, and, they can deal with my accountant over here.
Yeah.
Right, Ryan, the little green guy, or
Little
gray
green guy.
Right, talk to him, my agent. Right,
Neferti. That's what he calls himself.
he'll square it away.
Yep.
So, yep.
Got a little.
Any other questions? And maybe I can
Yeah.
help answer anything for anybody. If anybody's got anything for me. Sure. Yep. Taylor Swift.
If you're going to a Taylor Swift show
Yeah.
and you're paying an average of $2,000 for a ticket, and it's selling out a stadium with like 50,000 seats, some quick multiplication would tell you, isn't that one day, that one concert, 50,000 times 2,000 equals $100 million
Right.
for
And
one day, one concert? Isn't that
people are
absurd?
paying
Her
for
shows
it.
are pretty elaborate, though, aren't they?
Yeah, people
that
want to see it.
That
It's a
profit's
demand.
tighter than Taylor Swift's taint.
Would we pay that? No. Would I mean,
What?
maybe if they give me a free ticket, right? If they give me a free ticket to go check it
Yeah.
out or something, maybe, or if they brought me in or something like, yeah. But when I go out and pay $2,000 for a ticket to go see Taylor Swift, no.
Do you do that?
What?
Pay $2,000 to go see one of her shows?
No. Unless I'm getting a handy J and a half and half.
Yeah.
No, but that's just not. If I wanted to, I really wanted to, and like, okay, I got to see would I? Probably not, but
hmm
you know what I mean. There's people obviously that do. That's why they're selling,
Yeah.
and
Hey,
like it's their fair. People are in the demand for the tickets. If she could charge more. Why shouldn't she?
the reason people are paying this is because they want it, and if
They're selling out, so
if
what
they
are
don't
they
want to
thinking?
go, then they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, what are they thinking? And out of that, okay, whatever the numbers you came up with, the 2,000 a ticket, each venue is going to be a little different. So Taylor Swift may only see $400 or $300 wherever base that she's at per ticket. You never know what the costs are minus the expenses plus the taxes, and we didn't even get into that. And then like I said, a lot of the a lot of these monies and the profits they're making, they're prepaying for these festivals and the insurance for next year, so it could accrue the interest on the payment. Mm-hmm. So they're actually setting up work in advance because people are paying.
Oh. Aha.
Oh, we got one.
Comment.
Too many lawyers, too many hands in the pot.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So that's why they try to group it in, hence the surcharge. And, it's like a breakdown and, for each venue. And it's very complicated business. It's almost like it's a different deal for every show you do, not to mention the opening acts and how is it we get where are you selling the T-shirts? Do you have to move them, a quarter mile to the stand and back, That's why you see people running around the parking lot selling cheap T-shirts. Where do you think they came from?
Yeah. So do you think they've hit like a maximum efficiency here, or is there a better way for them to do what they're doing? Well, or they do things a little bit tighter and kind of relax the amount people have to pay, because it's like, okay, we're doing X, or we could do like X minus. We could do same thing with half the amount of money.
Great question. So, a lot of them, like when it comes to music and stuff, there's a term, you don't want to get blackballed.
Yeah.
You know what it is, and it's either you go with the program, it's already set up for you, or you go outside the norm, or you have something else to offer, that makes sense. So a lot of people are going to not have anything that niche.
Just on to hopping in too.
Yeah, and want to take the initiative to go that whole extra route. They're just like, sign me up. How much am I going to get paid? How much do I make in St. Louis? How much do I make in Wichita? How much do I make in Chicago? And, and that's going to be based on the number of ticket sales. You can monitor that, the number of prepays. That's why they're charging. If you noticed, I want to point out a really important fact. When they put the tickets on sale, sometimes these shows ain't coming up for, 5, 6 months, 8 months? You got to buy them that far in advance. So where do you think this money sits for those tickets? In an interest-bearing account. So you think about that. They're making money that way.
They got a big holding pen for all their money.
Sure. It's a hell of a game. It's the money game, So, basically it's like you're putting on entertainment. You come on. So it's me, Scotty. You come on with your doggy and pony show at 7 o'clock. You play till 9 o'clock. Get the fuck out of here. And that's you move on to the next city. That's how it works. And then here's your money. Get the hell out of here. See you at the next fight. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't show, you get your ass sued. You lose all your money, and then that's where your surcharges and your insurance come in.
I will sue you.
Right.
Yeah, lawyers.
And then you hear, what do we hear? We'll just get this bun here.
I love it. You guys are so great.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yep.
But I'm not doing entertainment law. Too many.
Yeah,
many people
way too
already
complicated too. Too many moods. Too many. Stick to something regular, like taxes.
Well,
I don't know if I haven't taken any tax classes yet. That might be worth looking at.
Well, we are pretty much at time.
We're at the end.
So that went quick.
Yeah.
It was an interesting conversation.
Somebody's passionate about like the bullshit we go through with concert tickets.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for having us at the Virgin Islands.
Of course, yeah, anytime, yeah.
The Virgin Islands.
Lovely.
The cats are amazing, and Swayze is actually quickly becoming my little buddy.
Isn't it? He's everybody's little buddy. I love him.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hey, no problem.
Princess D, Rye Guy. We
will be charging a service fee for watching the episode. So
you want it?
I mean, we got Red Hot Scott, but I still like the Scotty Too Hottie. And then thank you for Philip McCrevis, the Six Sad Menace tonight on Six Sad World. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Ooh. Holy shit! Oh,
good one.
Oh yeah, that
it's good.
Thank you guys.
Final word. Scotty's changed my mind.
Final word. What are you guys' final word?
Scotty's changed my opinion.
Okay.
Okay. What is your final word?
I don't think I'll be going into entertainment law, but I respect, everybody does.
Now there's about to be a fucking rubber band war going on.
Then let's do it.
Drop stunners, not drugs. Raise hell, praise Dale. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Take cover.
And get down. And it's a war zone. And war zone in the Virgin Islands. And thank you guys, and tune in next week to the Mercury Maniacs, and we will see you guys later.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.